Hi, ladies and gentlemen, lovely listeners. I'm Caleb Lamte, your host for the Young and Old podcast. In this podcast, I interview some of Africa's top achievers across various disciplines all over the world. They share their habits, values, and principles that have brought them this far. Stay tuned and enjoy the conversation. My guest for today's episode is Rita Tetteh. As a teenager, Rita noticed how young people were used as weapons of war in the Liberian War. With that understanding, she thought of how she can guide young people to be agents of peace and well-being. She developed the urge to help young people in need. Unknowing to her, this passion would turn into a full-time job. In spite of losing her mom in high school, she persevered to finish her secondary and tertiary education with first-class honors. She has worked in the development sector for over 20 years. Rita Tetteh is currently a program manager at the Department for International Development, popularly known as DfID, Nigeria. Rita is passionate about young people, which led to supporting the founding of Eagles Club, a community-based mentorship program where young people are developed into full stature. She currently acts as the patron of the club, and Rita is married with 2 kids. You can find Rita on LinkedIn at Rita Tetteh, Facebook Rita Jifatete, and you can email her at jeffrit@gmail.com. Jeffrit spelled DZIFRIT. Thank you and enjoy this episode.
Yeah, so how was your day? I think today is Sunday, so you went to church. How was it?
Well, my day has been good. I did church, because of COVID. So I joined Utabel ICGC online in the morning. Then I went to prepare someone for interview, and I've just been home just watching football. So yeah,
All right.
relaxing.
I think it's not bad at all. At least for the weekend, that is okay. Yeah. And you want to start with your childhood. I mean, where
Mhm.
did you grow up? How was your schooling? A summary of it, if you could tell
Well,
us.
I grew up in uh, Banana
Okay.
in Accra. I was born, that's where I was born and bred all my life. I went to AME Zion School. That's where I went to creche, primary, until I sat for the common entrance when I was in Form 1. And then I went to Ebenezer Secondary School. And yeah, completed Ebenezer Secondary School. And then went to sixth form. So did my O-level in Ebenezer Secondary School, and then went to sixth form in Winneba Secondary School. Yeah, and then from there, I went to University of Cape Coast for my first degree, and then my master's in University of Newcastle upon Tyne for my master's. So basically, that's been my school life. Yeah.
What are the challenges you faced in school as a student? What are some of the challenges?
Well, one that I can remember is me writing O-level 2 times.
Okay.
And this happened because I told myself I don't like maths. So I was reading mathematics rather than calculating, sitting down and calculating. So in 1991, I sat for the GCE ordinary level examination. Even though I had a distinction, I got grade 7 in maths. And when you are going to sixth form, 2 things, you need to get credit in maths and English and science. And I had 7 in maths. So I have to go back to Form 5 again and resit the exams. So I have to go back to Form 5, spend one more year and have to write the whole subject again. But how did I overcome that challenge? I found out that, look, mathematics, you don't read mathematics. You sit down and calculate. All I was doing was just reading mathematics. And that's how come I feel. So when I went back, there was this guy, very good in mathematics in the class. So he started taking me through, helping me. My auntie took me to a very good teacher, mathematics teacher in Achimota Secondary School by then. They call him Mr. Uwa. And Mr. Uwa made me fall in love with mathematics. And for the first time in my life, I started enjoying mathematics because I can calculate and get answers. I was solving past questions and I was getting excited. So when I have to write the O level again, I got distinction again, but this time around, I got grade 4. So what I've learned through that challenge is that when you focus on something, when you are determined and committed to do something, you achieve results. So that was my biggest challenge. And that's how I overcame it.
Okay. So what did Mr. Ewa do to make you love mathematics? If you could tell us.
So I always tell people that there is no bad student, but we have bad teachers. Okay. So initially when I said I don't like maths, my teacher in Ebenezer didn't encourage me. And I don't blame him because you have a lot of people in class. He cannot spend the time and energy on one student who doesn't like mathematics. So I didn't get any encouragement. I didn't get any motivation to help me to love maths. I see it to be a difficult subject. I don't like it. But when I went to Mr. Ewa, there was this personal touch, one-on-one, encouraging. When I get it wrong, I was not laughed at. I was not pulled down. I was encouraged that you can do it better next time, and this is how you go through it. And I was not the only one going for classes at Mr. Ewa's place. There are other people that were also going to classes. So it is the way teaching is a skill. You facilitate, the way you facilitate, the way you impart knowledge is different. So people might have the same skills, but one will be able to impart the knowledge better than somebody else. And I got that from Mr. Ewa. But that's one. The second bit is about my own commitment. My attitude towards maths changed. I didn't have the same attitude that I used to have. I told myself that I have to sit down and study. I don't have to be reading maths. I have to be working maths. And that made the difference.
Okay. All right. So I think Mr. Wa has done well. But I mean, aside Mr. Wa, I understand you are exposed person in school. Can you tell us about that one?
Yes, I was a sports person. I like sports. I played football when I was in Ebenezer Secondary School, and I played hockey. So those two, and I was in the school team. And that's it. And I just like sports. And a lot of people don't know. People think that those who do sports are people who are not academically good, and that is what they can do. But for me, sports rather enhance my absorption rate. It makes you alert. It makes you sharp. It makes you disciplined. It makes you focus. So if you are looking for anything that will keep you disciplined, then I will recommend sports for you. I did sports when I was in sixth form. I was playing hockey at the same time I was running. I was doing marathon. And then when I went to university, I learned new things. I learned how to play table tennis and learned how to play badminton. And in my hall, VACO hall, I was part of the team for the hall. And I play badminton every single day. Badminton and table tennis. Those who know me in VACO hall, I play every day, morning. Either I'm playing badminton in the morning and table tennis in the afternoon, or I'm playing table tennis in the morning and badminton in the afternoon, every single day when I was in UCC. And that's how come I perfected my art in table tennis and badminton. Those are new things I learned. I was not doing table tennis, I was not doing badminton before I went to university. But that I learned how to play those games, sports, when I was in university. And because it make you disciplined. It make you disciplined. And you know, university is not a place that they will tell you go and learn. Wake up. You have to manage your time. And I was doing sports at the same time. I told myself that, look, when I enter the world, I have to be a total human being. I have to be a total person. So I need to know, when is it time for me to learn? When is it time for me to do recreation? When is it time for me for family? When is time for me for friends? You learn all that when you are in school. If all that you do in school is to study, you finish school, you get married, you have family, all that you know to do is to work. You don't have time, you don't know how to manage your time and relationships and everything. And for me, those are the things I learned at university, that I want to be a total human being. I want to be a full human being that manage my time very, very well. And in doing all that, I still had a first class.
Wow.
I still had a first class. So it's not about books. I always tell people it is who you become. It's not always about academic. If you have all the knowledge in the world, you have all the academics in the head, and you don't have the values, the basis, it's like you are building a house on a sinking ground, on a shallow ground, because there is no foundation. But training yourself to become what God wants you to be able to know when to spend time, to be able to have relationships, to be able to do other things, you combine that with the academic, that make you a very total person. So that's what I did. And I still had a first class. I don't joke with my books, but I also have time to spend with people. I also have time to do my sport. I also have time to write. When I was in Valco Hall, I was a correspondent for Valco Hall's news network. So I write articles as well. I write news as well. So I was doing all that at the same time. Whilst my academic was there, I was in my church fellowship in university. I was the hall rep for the women fellowship. I have to visit people, check on them once in a while, visit, pray with them and all that. And I was doing all that at the same time studying. So yeah, you need to know what you want, and you need to know how to manage your time. You need to be committed in everything that you are doing. You should be a total human being. And I learned all that when I was in university.
So you mentioned something about a total person.
Yes.
Can you talk about it? Who is a total person? What makes one a
Okay.
total?
Yeah, so what I mean about being a total human being, you know, there are some people, they do one thing at a time. So if it is academics, that's all they do. So you have people on campus, at school, all they do is to study. They don't have time for any social activities. They don't have time for any extracurricular activity. And you will notice that those people, when they come out from school and they marry or they have things, all they do is work, because they have not developed the skills. They have not developed anything on how they build relationships and how they live with people, how they do other things. So those are the people you see who go to work. All that they do is work. They come home, they are working. Saturday, they are working. Sunday, they are working. That's all they know how to do. They have not built relationship. They don't know how to build relationship. They don't know how to do any extracurricular activities and anything. And that's what I mean. If you are a total person, you should be able to compartmentalize your life. You should be able to do different things at the same time. And everything is not about books. It's about relationships. It's about your own well-being, looking after yourself. You know when you are supposed to stop. and reflect. You know when you are supposed to stop and relax. You know when you are supposed to work. So you are able to manage all that. So that's what I'm saying about being a total human being.
Okay, okay, and I know you held positions in school, leadership positions, I think in and out of school, even as a service personnel. And what motivated you to become a leader in school? Because for now, people feel shy. They find it difficult to become leaders. They feel they are not called or they are not made to be leaders. But what motivated you to go into leadership positions? In and out of school. How was it?
Well, it will interest you to know when I was in school, I was not in any leadership, anything. My leadership activity started when I was not in school, when I was a young girl in Banana. And what motivated that is, I don't know what year it is, the time that we were having the Liberia issues, where children were made instruments of war and all those things. And we were watching those on TV some time ago, and there was a young, somebody I was older than, young person sitting beside me, and he was weeping and things, and it was like, what can we do to help these people? And that gave birth to Banana in Children's Club. So I started putting the children in the area together and teaching them how they can live at peace with each other, looking at the academic work. So I do classes for them, teaching them drumming and dancing and all, recreation, things like that, bringing them together and using myself as a role model, as an example. I was very young. I was very young. I was in secondary school, sixth form by then, and I was doing all those things. And that is where my leadership started. I started building my leadership. I realized that young as I was respected in the whole area, to the extent that when children are misbehaving, I'm called. Parents call me and say, Sister Jifa, I'm going to call Sister Jifa. And then whatever the children are doing, they stop. When they see me, they listen to me. When I talk to them, they listen to me. And that is the development of my leadership. But when I was in school, I went to university and other things. I was not, like I said, I was the house hall rep for women. Because of all those things that I learned, my childhood, that is what I brought in it. But my leadership developed when I was doing national service. When I was doing national service, I stood for treasurer for the National Service Association in Isachim district. Is it Isachim? Sujaman district. And you have to campaign. You have to talk to people, what you are bringing in, what skills you are bringing in, and what you will do with people. And that was my first real, leadership, trying to vie for a leadership position. And I got it. And it taught me so many things, because you are working with different people, and you need to be a role model. You need to be an example. You need to be honest, especially the role I was in. I was handling people's money dues and other things. I need to be accountable. I need to be transparent, etc. and etc. And at the same time, I was doing things in the community, use my national service money. I saw poverty, I saw vulnerability. I saw young girls, teenage pregnancy. I saw people, poverty, and I could not help it. So I used my national service allowance, some of them, to buy school uniform. So what I did was to go around looking for children with brilliant but needy children in the community, and spoke to some of my national service colleagues to contribute some of their allowance. We bought uniform, we bought books. There were the district that I was working, so Sujaman district, they had letterheads that were old. They were no longer using it. I saw permission. I got it, cut the letter and turned it into jotters, about 100 pieces of jotters. I had somebody who made books in Banana. I spoke to him. I said, can you help me? This is what I'm doing. He turned it into job test for me without any cost. And one thing that really inspired me on that was in one of my runs, identify a boy who has been in class 6. The school is up to class 6. And he has been in class 6 for 3 years. Because he loves school, he always comes to school, even though he's supposed, technically, he's not a member of that school. And that was a time that the district assembly was giving scholarship. So I went back and I went to my DCE and I said, you are giving scholarship. How did you miss this boy? They didn't believe me. They said I should bring the boy. So I brought the boy. Fortunately, the day that I brought the boy, the scholarship committee were having a meeting. District education director, all of them. And then when I brought the boy with his barefoot, his torn school uniform and everything, they were weeping. They said, how did we miss? So they called the headmistress. And the headmistress said, you said those who are in the school. This boy technically is not a member of the school. If I added his name, I would be accused. So the boy got scholarship and went to JHS. And I was very, very proud. I kept in touch with him for so long when I was working in Sunyani, and I was very proud. And that is where I told myself, I told God that I want to work with poor and marginalized people. That was where my development work, the desire for development was started from.
I think this story is so inspiring. I don't know. Sometimes we feel we are doing well, but you are just telling me that I'm not yet there. I should put in more effort, and I appreciate that.
You know, sometimes you have to look at opportunities around you and see what difference you can make in the life of people. Everybody, wherever you are, you should see yourself as fortunate and be thankful. And the little that you can do to impact society, to impact community, you just have to do it. I know you stay in Kokobite. I see Kokobite is in Accra, but there's a village. If you go towards the beach side, I think we can do something with those kids that go to the beach. You see them at the beach, and then we can do this. Even if it's a football reading club or something, we can make a big difference in the life of those ones. It might not be big, but it's about sacrifice, it's about making time. So yeah, it's something that I'm thinking about. I always think about it and say, look, I'm in this community. What am I giving back to this community? So it's something that you and I, we can think about. Now we live in that area. Yeah. So it's something that we should think about and see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll work on it. I shall get into that.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us how you got your first job, because we understand in this part of our world, I mean Africa and Ghana to be specific, getting a job out of school is difficult. We thought moving forward it will get better, but it's getting worse. So how did you get your first job? Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I can tell you about it. Like I said, when I did that in the Sojaman district, saw this, I told God that I want to make a difference in the life of people. So I started writing applications. Anyway, I don't even remember that I even applied for ActionAid. I wrote a lot of, when I was about to finish national service, I wrote a lot of applications. So one day I was there, I had a call. In those days, we don't even have mobile phones and things. We do space to space. So fortunately, there's a space to space operator just behind my house. So I asked and I used their number as part of my application. So I was there. They came to call me in the house. I have a call. So I went to the space to space, and it was, I don't even know that it was ActionAid. Then they said, I've applied for job ActionAid, so I should come for interview on Monday. I think it was on a Tuesday. I should come for interview the next Monday. I didn't even know where ActionAid office was. So I asked them, where is ActionAid? And then the man said, you apply to work in ActionAid, you don't know ActionAid. And I said, I know about ActionAid. I don't know where your office is. So, but well, then they said, well, you have been shortlisted to come for interview. You apply for accountant. So come for interview. And I said, okay. So what I did was I asked people, where is Ashinade office? I have some elderly mentors around. So I asked one of them, have you heard about Ashinade? Where is Ashinade office? So he directed me. So I went to Ashinade office with a friend. And then he went and asked questions on my behalf, and he picked how do you call it, booklets about Ashinade and everything for me. So I read what Ashinade does. I realized that it's in line with my desire, my vision of development and everything. So the day of the interview came, I went. I think I was the only one that is fresh from school. Later, I got to know that all the people that were there had worked before. I have not worked before. Friend for national service. So we did the interview. I was honest. I was open. They asked me questions. Who do I think are the poor and marginalized people in the world? I said they are women and children, because when there is war, when there is any conflict, when there is any issue, they are the first that bear the brunt of anything. And I could see that they were nodding. They were nodding, and other questions, finance, how do you, as an accountant, they say accountant, we are stingy. And if you come in and people are not obeying policies, and how do you, I said, we are human beings. We talk to each other, we talk to them, and I'll support them. So many things. Where I answered wrongly, they educate me and everything. So I came home. Then the next day, I had a call to go to Japan Motors for interview. I went to Japan Motors. Immediately after the interview, I saw there were about 5 people there. I was the number 3 person. I went in. After the interview, they said I should start the next day. Then they didn't interview the rest of the people. But then I was torn. I didn't know what to say. By the time I got home from the Japan Motors interview, I was told I had a call. And then I went to call back. It was Ashinade. Then they said, I've got the job. So now, because I've got Japan Motors, I wanted to be in Accra. I told the person, the head of finance then was called Erisaba. Then I told him that I don't want to go to North again. I selected North. They needed 4 people. I said, I want to go to North. I said, I don't want to go to North again. I want to go to Esutifi. I don't know even where Esutifi is. I know it's in Bronga Afo region. I didn't know where it is. I said Esutifi. I was just trying to say something to discourage. Then they will say they won't give me the job. The man said, Esutifi, you will go. And then he said that it's a new place. There is nothing. There's a new program that they've started. He's giving me 2 years. I should come and tell him the difference I've made. And no, I took that as a challenge. Then I was torn. I was like, should I go to a Sutifi that I don't know, or I should go to Japan Motors in Accra? Because I have my children's club. I didn't want to leave them. So I had some elderly man and a wife. So I went to him and he advised me and he said, you know, Japan Motors is a family business. And you know what Japan Motors said I should do? They said I should bring a guarantor for 5,000. In those days, that's 50 million. Where will I get that money from? My family have not even seen that money before. So that is also a discouragement. So it's a family business. It can collapse. Ashinade. So I prayed about it. And the desire is so strong because I told God I want to work in development. And the opportunity has come. Why am I so afraid? You know, sometimes we pray, God answers our prayers, but sometimes we are afraid to take the leap of faith. And that happened to me. So eventually, I decided I would go with Ashinade. And that is how I got my job. And I look back and who I am today, it was built from Ashinade because I was given an opportunity to fly. I was given an opportunity to learn. I was given an opportunity to think outside the box. It's a new program. I have to set up all the systems and everything. I didn't know how to speak tree properly. I have been trained community members on financial management and construction management and everything. And it made me really, really fall in love with development. And I have somebody to thank, my program manager, Budali Isahaku. Budali told me, Rita, you can choose to be a check writing accountant and sit in the office and be writing check, or you want to fly. You want to understand the program. And I chose the latter. I decided to follow the money. So every penny, every money that we spend, I have to understand what it is spent for. So I started doing program work. I started joining the program officers to go to community entry and all that. And that's how I build my capability in development, in so many things, rights-based approach, people-centered advocacy, PLA, participatory learning appraisal, and all that. So that was my first job, and that's how I got it. God answered my prayer, I think. I believe. Yeah.
Just believe God. So we want to do a little playback. Before the time you helped the Liberian issue came up. Before that, what was your dream job? What was your dream job?
Oh, I wanted to be a doctor, a medical doctor. That's what I wanted to be. So when I was in secondary school, O-level, I don't joke with my science. So what was happening in O-level, you have from 1 to form 5. It's not JHS and SAS, so from 1 to form 5. You select your subjects that you do when you are going to form 4. So what was happening is that I'm always ahead of the general science teacher. I do my note before he comes to teach. So one day he saw my note and decided that, look, this girl has made my work easy. And in those days in Ebenezer, we do Lebi Keshwane. We are so many. So we have from 1A. We have from 1A to F, A to C. We'll do like morning session for 2 weeks, and then we change. And then D to F will also change and come afternoon like that. So that's what we were doing up to the time we got to Form 3. And then one day when we were in Form 3, the teacher said I should give my notebook to class from 1A, B, C. So it was going from class to class for people to copy the notes. Eventually, it didn't return back. So I didn't do well in my science. So they gave me business. I was in the accounting class. And for about half of the term, I was sitting in the science class, even though my name was not in the science class. Because all my friends were in the science class. I really loved science. I wanted to be a doctor. But you know, God proposes, but man proposes, but God disposes. God always have a plan for all his children. It is not what we want. It is what God wants us to become. So eventually I have to realize that I need to, even in those days, I was not a proper Christian. It is when I'm looking back now over my life, I realized that God has already marked my way from the time that was a clot of blood in my mother's womb. He knew me. He knew what he wanted me to become. In that time, I didn't understand it at all. I didn't know what it is. So I decided, okay, let me be in the accounting class. And that's how I'll stay in accounting. And I ended up doing Bachelor of Commerce. And now I'm a program manager. I'm not using the finance as I used to. I would love to use it, but it is helping me to really, because as a program manager, I need to understand the finances as well. Monies that we give to partners, how they account for it. So I'm using it one way or the other, but not as direct as I wanted. So here I am, ended up becoming accountant, and I've done so many things. All the things I've done, I'm not using them actually. My master's was international Greek and food marketing. And then I did a postgraduate diploma in organization development. So building organization, looking at organization in totality as a whole. So you are looking at systems, you are looking at people, you are looking at everything. But all those knowledge that I've acquired in my O-level, in the postgraduate diploma and the master's, It's helping me to be able to analyze things better and in the current job that I'm doing. Yeah. So I didn't end up being a medical doctor. That's
Right.
my dream.
I don't know whether it was for good or bad, but we thank God for wherever you got into now.
Yes, the Bible says that God knows the plans that He has for us, not of good, but to give us an expected end. So I think it is God's plans that have won at the end of the day, and His plans always win.
I see. Yes, so I think we've gone back now. We are coming to the present time where you spoke about how you got your first job. And I remember you said you didn't have a phone. So you used a telephone number, I mean a commercial number for your personal application. I don't know what came to mind for you to do that.
Because in those days, there is no phones. There is no mobile phones. It's not every house that has telephone, even the desk telephone. And what everybody know in those days, just space to space. You know, you go and make a call and pay, or sometimes you beg them, oh, let me use your number. I might be expecting a call. And then they call you when the call comes and you pay a fee. So yeah, that is, can you imagine what would have happened if I have not put that telephone number in? They would have written to me. It would take a long time before the letter arrive. I might not have seen it. Yeah. So looking for opportunities, always looking for opportunities to enhance whatever you are doing is always good.
The reason why I asked was because sometimes we need certain things, but we might not have that, and we feel like because we don't have it, there is no need to get someone's phone to use. If someone doesn't have, let's say, a mobile phone to join an online course or to do an online course, he might say, "Oh, I don't have it, so I'll not stress myself to get someone else." Who knows? I might misplace it or get a spot. But for you, you made, and I mean, you improvised for that. What do you have to say about improvising? Sometimes getting things you don't have. What's your thoughts on that?
Always think outside the box. Always think outside the box. Everything is not as it seems. You always have to think outside the box. You always have to look in at adding value to whatever you have. You should be a problem solver, looking for opportunities and how you take advantage of it. I always tell people that this COVID that has come, there are some people who are crying, but those who are smart are looking out for opportunities and they are taking advantage of the opportunities, while some people are sitting and they are crying. Look for opportunities. The opportunities are there a lot. So every situation, every challenge, there is an opportunity in it that you should look out for. I tell people that wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, they are three different things. They are not the same. Wisdom is not the same as knowledge. Knowledge is something that you learn from books and things. But if you don't have wisdom to be able to apply that knowledge, all your knowledge is zero. And that wisdom we are talking about is God that gives that wisdom. Everybody should desire wisdom and understanding.
Okay.
When you have that, you will be looking for opportunities in every situation. You will not be sitting down and be sorrowful and be complaining, but you see every opportunities and as an opportunity for an enhancement. Every challenge as an opportunity for an enhancement. And that's how you solve problems. You need to be a problem solver.
So did you ever think in your life before that situation that you could ever get engaged in humanitarian work? Or did you even know what humanitarian work meant at that age when you were young?
I didn't know, but all of us, are we not humanitarian? What is humanitarian? It's being human.
Okay.
It's about being human. It's about humanity. It's about respect. It's about right. Okay, so we are all humanitarian. I told you about my childhood when I have a club. It's about making a difference in the life of those young ones. In my community, banana is not a rich community. You see people out of school and everything. What difference do you want to make? So that's it. We are all humanitarian. But your question, direct question, whether I saw myself working in the humanitarian sector specifically, well, I didn't, but there's an opportunity. I've done development work. Development is different from humanitarian work anyway. I've done development, I've done economic development, I've done governance, I've done human development. The only thing I've not done is humanitarian. So when the opportunity came to apply for a humanitarian work, I thought, well, this is bringing me closer and closer to my dream of making a difference in the life of people. And if you have not been closer to conflict and to disaster and things, you not really understand what people go through when those things happen. And what I see now, what I do now, even though I'm not in the front line, but I know every single thing that I do every day is contributing to making the life of the internally displaced people in Maiduguri, in the northern part of Ghana, is making their lives better. Always looking out for opportunities, always looking out for what we can do to make their lives better, whether we are distributing food to them, whether it's about nutrition and health, whether it's about protection against gender violence and exploitation, sexual exploitation. I'm not in the front line, but as I advise, as I look for money, we disburse money and everything. We are making sure that every penny that is spent is making the life of those people better along the way. And I'm happy that I am doing that. It helped me to understand human suffering more and to appreciate what I have. I'm lucky because anybody can be an internally displaced person any day, anytime. It just take one conflict. It just take one silly word from a leader. Look at what happened in Rwanda. Just one day, just one word, and then people are being killed and people are being displaced. So all of us need to be careful what we say, especially when we are leaders, because we have followers. People follow us. Whether we are speaking the truth or we are lying, people believe what we say. So if you are a leader, your words carry weight, and therefore it is important you are careful what you say, how you say it. Otherwise, I know definitely that because you are a leader, people believe you, whether you are wrong or right.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And I know being an humanitarian has a side of risk involved. And from my interaction with you earlier, I know you like risk management. Can you talk about risk in the humanitarian work? Can you share your knowledge about that?
We manage risk. All of us manage risk every day. Even when you are drinking water, there's a risk. It depends on how you drink the water. Even when you are eating, there's a risk. You can get choked depending on what you are eating and how you are behaving when you are eating. So we all manage risks. Risk is all around us every day. So it's not just in humanitarian, it's not just in development and everything. It is looking at risks. It's something that you are envisaging that can happen. And how do you identify those things and then put mitigation measures in place so that you either minimize the risks. Sometimes you can't take the risks away altogether. For example, if you are drinking water and you don't take your time, you are just taking it, you can get choked. Okay, so you know that there is a risk like that. So what mitigation will you going to put in place so that you can drink the water safely? So take your time when you are drinking the water. So that's the mitigation I'll put in place. It's the same with development work, humanitarian work. So yeah, we manage risks every day. It's not a difficult subject. You see it as what can possibly go wrong in this venture that I am undertaking. You identify them. Okay, what can I do to minimize this from occurring or happening? And then you put it there, and then you continue to monitor it, and you continue to be looking at it so that it does not materialize. And even if it materializes, you know you have mitigations in place to be able to minimize it or take the risks away altogether. And there are different ways that we manage risk. You can treat the risks. So you have a risk, and then you can put things in place to be able to treat it. You can transfer the risks. So the work that I do, most of the risk management we do, we transfer it. We don't deliver directly. We give money to UN agencies and international NGOs to deliver the project directly on our behalf. So we transfer the risks to them. So they are the risk holders. Okay. We can also decide to terminate the risk. So we will not. The risk is too big for us that we are not willing. The return that we get from that is not something that will give us more return. So we terminate it. So we are not going to fund it at all. Or we tolerate the risk. So there are 40s. So we know that this is a risk. Yes, it's a risk, but we are happy with it because we have put measures in place to be able to contain. So that's where your risk appetite comes in. So how much risk you can be able to take, that sets your appetite, and then you can manage the risk. So like in life, we manage risks every day. It's not only even at the bank, they have a risk and compliance officer who is managing the risk because they give loans and things. People might not pay at the end of the day. So what are they going to do? Balancing money. You should not keep a lot of money. You should not keep less money. Otherwise, if you keep less money and people come to collect their money and you don't have it, they'll go and tell everybody that, this bank have chopped my money. So you are balancing. And at the same time, if you have a lot of money and you are not giving it out as loan to people, you are losing because banks, they trade with our money. So every venture, there is risk management. Even in your schooling, you have to manage risks.
Okay. This is interesting, learning a lot about risk. So you talk about treating risks, you talk about transferring risk, you talk about terminating risks, and you talk about tolerating risk. So in our daily lives, which form of risk management do we often use from experience?
So we can use all of them. Okay. So, but one that I would say that we do is tolerating the risk. You have system in place to manage the risk. So, for example, those of us who have children and we are working now, we have energy and everything, we are working now, you are trying to save for their schooling. Okay, so that's there's a risk that when you grow old and you don't save, you will not be able to fend for yourself or fend for your children's school. So one way of mitigating that risk is saving now, so that when the time comes, you'll be able to cater for yourself. You not go begging when you are old age and worrying your children to pay your food and do everything for you and other things. So you put system in place. So either you have put measures in place, so you tolerate the risks when it comes. You know that I can be able to contain it because you have put system in place. You cannot transfer that risk. You can't transfer the responsibility, your responsibility of taking care of your children, to other people. So you can't transfer it. There are certain risks you cannot transfer. Do you see? So it depends on what kind of risk it is and how you try to manage the risks.
Okay. Yeah,
I like to bring some of these things home.
okay.
So that people most of the time, people think risk management is a big thing, but we manage risk every day. From what I'm telling you, realize that you manage risk. If you are going to cross the road, you are managing risks. Whilst you are driving, you are managing risks because you are alert and making sure that your mirrors, you are doing it every day on the road. So it's not a difficult concept.
All right. I see. So now I think whenever I'm faced with the risk, I'll typically run through the four and see which one is the best before I attend to it. Thanks so much for sharing that. And do you recall some of the situations that nearly led you to giving up on your career or dream or vision? Do you recall any situation that nearly made you give up on those things?
Well, I would say that I'm not a person that gives up easily. Because when I have a goal, when I have a focus, I don't let anything distract me from that. But you know, life is not uncertain. Life is uncertain. So nobody knows how soon his position may change and to what sad event his most innocent action may lead. You know, so my mother died when I was 10 years. That's when my mother died. And that was the beginning of independence. So I realized that I don't have anyone. I need to focus. And God being so good, God found me along the way and enhanced that focus, knowing that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so that's my focus. And that encouraged me, that motivates me to know that you are not alone. You can do whatever you set your minds up to do. But that time was a very difficult. I nearly missed my O-level exams because I have to go and be looking for money to pay for my registration. And the headmistress then, Mrs. Nancy Thompson. I don't know. You know, favor. Favor. When God favors you, nobody can change it. This woman delayed the whole school waiting for me. So at the point that day I didn't go to school, that was the day I was going around, like they say, Obiatuni collection. So I'm going around family collecting 1 CD here, 2 CD here, 5 CDs here, just to pay my registration. And she announced at assembly, I was told that whoever knows me should tell me that she has waited enough. Today is the last day. If tomorrow I don't bring it, I should forget it. Unfortunately, I was able to get and bring it the next day. God bless that woman. And now that I've grown up and I'm looking back over my life, I'm so thankful to God. I know that it is God. It's favor. Because that woman, I don't know why. Even when I got distinction and I got a grade 7 in maths, the woman went to look for sixth form for me, Accra Academy. And then she came to assembly and said that look at Rita's result. She got distinction, but she had maths. And because of that, she cannot go to sixth form, and encouraging people to take their how do you call it, their mathematics seriously. You know, and then when I decided to go back to sit in Form 5 again, my accounting teacher, they said there is no space. They called the accounting teacher. And then he said that if he has to give me his seat, he will admit me in his class. That teacher is not my friend. It's not my, but you see, it's the favor of God. When the favor of God is with you, nobody can stop it. And now, grown up, looking back on all those, because I would have missed, I wouldn't have been here. If I was not able to write the exams, that was the end. But God has plans, and He has brought me through because that is what He wanted me to be. So for me, I always believe that wherever I am and whatever I'm doing, It is God that put me there. So at my workplace, everything that I do it with commitment. I work so hard as to the Lord and not unto any man. I'm not looking for eye service. I'm not looking whether people value or they don't value. I just do. I just do. Because I know that I'm not there by chance or by mistake. It's planned by God. And therefore I have to give my best.
Yes, that's nice. I mean, it's so touching. I'll just keep it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how sometimes you meet people where you don't even expect help to come from. They offer help. And
Yes.
you don't have any reason, any reason behind that. You just don't know. You just accept that that's the doing of the Lord.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the things you do regularly in order to improve your work, health, or family life, and family life?
All of them is reading, looking for new things, reading. Right now, me and my best friend, Auntie Jennifer, we are reading Proverbs so that God will give us wisdom so that we can impart that knowledge to our children. So, like, we have come to the conclusion that the academic excellence of our children is not enough. It is who they become. That is the most important thing, the values that they embed. That is the most important thing. So we ourselves, we are reading Proverbs, educating ourselves, and asking God to give us wisdom and understanding so that when we speak to our children, we are speaking wisdom to them, and then we are imparting that knowledge to them. At work, I like to learn. I always tell people that the only room that need improvement is room for improvement. So if you have a bottle of water and it is full, it has no room to add on. So I always go everywhere with half bottle just to learn new things. It does not matter whether the person is higher than me in grade or lower than me in grade. I like to learn and I like to share. And I also learned that the more you share, the more you become better. Because people take what you have shared and add value to it, and it become a bigger thing. So if you heard, and there is something in the Bible that says the one that give will get, but the one that does not give and hoard does not get. Isn't it an irony that when you are giving, you should be getting finished, isn't it? And then when you are hoarding, you should have it. But the Bible says that the one that gives rather is the winner. So if you have knowledge and you keep it to yourself and you are not sharing it with anybody, that is the only thing you have. You have not grown, you not grow, you not develop. But when you share, people take that what you have shared, add value to it, and it become a bigger thing. So always learning, always looking for, like, thinking outside the box, innovation, coming out with innovation, coming out with looking for opportunities in everything. If I've done one mistake today, I don't want to repeat the same mistake. So I learn something new and do it differently. And that's how come I develop myself at work, with people, reading I like leadership. So always reading leadership quotes and things. And I try as much as possible to improve myself, because if you are a leader, you have to be authentic. You have to not be afraid to make mistakes. If you lead people, you have to give them the opportunity. You have to empower them. And if you are authentic, they also know that when they are free to make mistakes, because it is in the process of making mistakes that we learn. And Kwame Nkrumah said something. He said that a man without fault is a mere photograph, very still and immature. So if you are somebody who is afraid to make mistake, then you are not mature. You just be where you are. You will not develop. You will not grow. So be flexible. Allow for mistake. It is a process of making mistakes that you learn. And what you tell yourself that I don't have to repeat that mistake ever again. And that's how you learn. So learning, looking for opportunities. Even having conversations with people, I'm looking for opportunity to learn. This conversation I'm having with you, I'm learning a lot. Even though I'm doing a lot of the talking, some of the questions you are asking is making me to think differently. And that is how I learn.
Thank you. Thank you for highlighting that. And I'm sure our listeners will be learning a lot. They'll be learning a lot. So you mentioned something about values that you are teaching your children for them to become. You said it is who they become. That's what's important. So what are some of the values you are teaching your children with your friend?
Honesty. Being honest and being true. Another value is that it's okay to make mistakes. But when you make mistake, you correct and learn from that mistake and don't repeat it. Other value is about hard work. Hard work always pay. When you work hard, you will be rewarded at the end of the day. So always work hard. And they've seen, my children have seen some of the fruits. Now they are happy when their grades comes and everything. And when they are working hard, teacher will say, Mommy, I've been sitting in this chair since morning and working. And I see the satisfaction in her face when she's able to finish her homework and submit it on deadline. For example, there is one homework that she was supposed to, her personal project, she's supposed to submit on Friday. When I asked her on Thursday, where are you? She said, Mommy, I've not even reached half. I'm supposed to read 1,005. I've not reached half. I said, don't worry. You do gradually, you go. Yesterday, Saturday, I asked her, did you submit? He said, yes. You can see the satisfaction. You can see the joy in her that she was. I said, you see hard work. You work hard and you have been able to submit it. Now you are happy. That is it. And it's something that I always push. Hard work, diligence, honesty, being truthful, respect. Because when you respect and you are diligent, it will take you high.
Thank you for sharing your values with us. And you spoke about reading, learning, interested in innovations. What are some of the latest learnings or innovations you've come across in this, let's say, COVID times or for this year?
Okay, so one of the things, before COVID, everything that I do is in the office and everything, but now we cannot be in the office and you have to work online. I've improved my IT skills. I've improved my IT skills by having meetings online. I do presentations, trainings online. I never imagined myself to be able to do that. I always like to see the people and do it, but the first time I remember I didn't like it. But now I'm enjoying it. I want to say, like, I'm able to even achieve a lot working from home than going to the office anyway. So one thing that I've learned that I've improving is my IT skills and using the tools, which I think is very good for me.
All right. And what do you do in your leisure times or your breaks? What do you do?
Like I told you, football. So even this interview I'm having, I'm missing my Tottenham vs Chelsea match. So weekends like this, I don't go anywhere. Football, I go to church. Now because of COVID, I do my church online. I join Otabel online and do the church online. So it's a long time since I've gone to church. So Sunday I do my church. Weekend I just relax and sometimes I watch movies and and read. Sometimes I don't read a lot though, but when I get the time, I like to read a little, and sleep. It's very important. The best place in my house, my favorite place is my bedroom, my bed. Actually, my bed is my favorite place. I like to sleep. And because sometimes it is when I'm in bed that I reflect a lot, that ideas and things come. So I like to put my head on the table, close my eyes, and reflect. Your well-being is very, very important. So it's important. And sometimes I go out, like yesterday, there was an exhibition, art, fashion exhibition. I saw on the platform, so I decided it's not far from my house. I decided to go and have a look. Yeah, and I went briefly about 1 hour and came home.
All right. We'll not sit down and be doing as such. I mean, the ones we find favorable to do. So, if or when you talk about success, what do you understand by success? What definition do you give to success for you?
Hard work, diligence, hard work, diligence. That's hard work. That's success for me.
All right. So, who is the first person that comes to mind when you think of success?
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. It's about diligence, hard work, and keeping focus. That is success. Even though Satan did so many things to take his focus away from the goal that he has, he came to save us. Satan tempted him at his most weakest point when he has fasted for 40 days and 49 was so hungry. Satan tempted him. Jesus could have given in, but his eyes is on the goal. He never take his eyes away from the goal. Even at the last minute, in the Garden of Gethsemane, when he was point, he said, my heart is sorrowful. And he said, God, I wish that you take this cup from me, but not my will, but let your will be done. He knew what his goal was. He knew what he came to do. He knew what the end game is. And he was focusing on it. And that is success. Without focus, without diligence, without hard work, you veer from the goal and you'll not be successful. That's success. It's about focus, it's about diligence, it's about hard work.
Nice. So you said focus. Being successful is about diligence, hard work, and focus. To note that down.
Don't look to the left, don't look to the right. Just keep your eye on the goal and work towards it. Be diligent about it, be committed. You always achieve the goal. You always be successful. Success is not about worldly fame, as we know. It's not a worldly fame. That's not success for me. Success is about what do I have to achieve? What is the goal? What is my dream? Let me focus on the dream. How do I get to that dream? By focusing, is by working hard. It's about being committed. It's about hard work.
Well noted. Well noted. And if you, imaginary, if you had a major billboard along the roadside and you are asked to post a statement or some words which are not commercial, what would you share with people on that board?
Okay. Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. Proverbs 22:29. That's it.
Wow, that's very short. We'll add it to our notes when sharing it. And what are your parting words for people, especially the youth? Because our conversations are based on the youth to let them understand some of the challenges, some of the difficulties, what has kept people going, what has made some fall by the way. But for you, what are the parting words you share with whoever is listening at the moment?
Well, it's about hard work, commitment, diligence. That's it. And the fear of the fear of God. Because the Bible says, what is the whole duty of man? Is to fear God. If you read Ecclesiastes, he said, young men, he has told us what we should do. So a life without Christ is empty. People think that when you are a Christian, I mean, a born-again Christian, a possessor of Christ, you don't have swag. The people that have the best swag, young people that have the best swag in the world, are those young people that have Jesus living inside of them, that direct what they do, hard work, commitment, focus. They don't look at what other people are doing around. They have a vision. They are the people that have the swag, not the people that are wasting their lives around. No, those who have the swag and those who have the joy, best people, they are the people that have Jesus inside of them. Because when you have Jesus inside of you, you look to him. And I said, I already told you that my best example of success is Jesus Christ. That's my best example. He had a focus. He was committed to it. He just looked to it. Nothing swayed him from it. And that's my example. So whatever focus I have on, I look to Jesus' example and said, look, I don't need to fail. Jesus did not fail. So I also don't have to fail. What did he do not to fail? He was focused. He was committed. So that's what I will also do. So that's what I would tell young people. Hard work, diligence, and keep your focus. Don't waste time with time wasters. People that will not add any value to your life. Don't waste time with them.
Yeah, so I was coming to an end, but you've mentioned something interesting. Time wasters. How do you identify time wasters? How do you identify time wasters?
So like time wasters is like there are some people that when you are talking about serious and important things, you can see that they are not interested in those things. They are the people that when you are doing the wrong thing, they encourage you to do the wrong thing. They don't add any value to your life. They are the people that don't have any aim or goal. They are just in it. Anything, every wind that can blow them left, right, and center. You don't waste time with them.
Okay, that's nice.
They are dream killers.
Okay.
They are also dream killers. When you come out with an idea and something, they say, this one won't work. Even before they hear you out, they discourage you. Don't waste time with those people. Waste time with people that even your idea is foolish. They'll say, this is very good. But look at it in this angle as well. Those are the people that you should associate with, or they will add value to your life and to whatever dream you have.
All right. So if people want to follow you, reach you, let's say whether on social media or email, can you show us where they can follow you or reach you?
Oh, Caleb, you know that I'm not social media person. I can't remember the last time I went to Facebook. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Twitter. So what should I say? It's just, what is my Facebook? Just look for me, Rita, Tetteh on Facebook.
All right. Would you mind sharing your email? Maybe they can send you a mail after listening to this.
Yeah, my email is jifrit@gmail.com. Jifrit@gmail.com. So Jifrit is DZIFRIT@gmail.com. You can reach me on that.
So thank you so much. Rita.
Yeah, thank you, Caleb, for this wonderful piece that you are doing. I believe it's high time that we share our lives and our lessons with young people. We've seen certain things. If we had this opportunity when we were growing up, I think we would have been better than what we are today. So it's a very powerful thing that you are doing, and I will encourage you to keep it up.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I know our listeners will also appreciate the time you've spent with us sharing about your life. It's not everyone that gives you this opportunity. And as we talk, I'm sure people are listening to decide whether they want to come on the show or not. But we have set the pace for them. And thank you so much for doing that.
All right.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We promise to bring you new episodes weekly. Subscribe on the various platforms you listen to this podcast on. You can follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at The Young and Old, and on YouTube at The Young and Old Podcast.